On October 22, 2025, General Motors halted production of its Bright Drop electric vans at the Cami plant in Ingersoll, Ontario, Canada's first full-scale EV facility. The shutdown devastated 1,200 unionized workers, many already on temporary layoff, and shattered hopes for a green manufacturing future. GM blamed weak demand, regulatory shifts, and the loss of U.S. tax credits, with 4,000 unsold vans piling up and the dream of 50,000 annual units gone. The silence at Cami was especially bitter after over $500 million in public investment from Ottawa and Ontario to retool the plant for EVs. Once hailed as a landmark public-private partnership, the project now looked like a broken promise. Workers, retrained for EV production, felt abandoned, believing they were building not just vehicles, but a sustainable future for their community. The plant's future was suddenly uncertain, its skilled workforce left in limbo. The shutdown marked a harsh turning point for Canada's ambitions in the global auto industry. The Cami shutdown was the result of mounting U.S. economic pressure. In March 2025, President Trump imposed a 25% tariff on Canadian light-duty vehicles, aiming to force production back to the U.S. backed by the United Auto Workers. The tariffs made Canadian exports instantly uncompetitive, adding thousands to each vehicle's price. The impact was immediate. Stock prices fell, and analysts warned Canadian plants could close within weeks. The just-in-time supply chain was thrown into chaos, and the Bright Drop van's already shaky business case collapsed. For Ingersoll's workers, the link between U.S. politics and their jobs was painfully clear. The shutdown became a casualty of a cross-border trade war, with Canadian workers squeezed between American ambitions and corporate decisions. The plant and its workforce were caught in a geopolitical storm beyond their control. Ingersoll, a town of 13,000, relied on the Cami plant as its economic heart. The shutdown rippled through the community. Suppliers lost orders, local businesses saw sales plummet, and public services faced funding threats. For 1,200 workers, these weren't just jobs, they were careers, the foundation for families and futures. Anxiety and uncertainty gripped the town as mortgages, livelihoods, and retirement plans hung in the balance. The psychological toll was immense, with pride replaced by fear and a sense of disposability. The community spirit, once buoyed by EV optimism, now faced a fight for survival. Ingersoll's fate became a stark warning about the risks of relying on a single, globally exposed industry. Canadian leaders responded to GM's move with swift outrage. Ontario Premier Doug Ford threatened legal action, insisting GM had a moral and contractual duty to find new work for the plant. Industry Minister Melanie Joly announced a rapid response group to defend jobs, while Prime Minister Mark Carney condemned U.S. tariffs and pledged to protect the auto sector. Unifor National President Lana Payne accused GM of abandoning workers after receiving billions in public funds, calling for a stronger national industrial strategy. Local union leader Mike Van Bukel blamed U.S. tariffs and political pressure, emphasizing the Cami workforce's world-class skills. The demand was clear. GM owed Ingersoll a new product mandate. The shutdown became a rallying point for a more assertive Canadian approach to industrial policy. Unions and government stood united, determined to hold GM accountable. The message: Canada would not let its workers be discarded without a fight. The Canadian government quickly shifted from anger to action. Ontario's legal team scoured the 2022 funding deal for breaches, signaling GM that public money came with strings attached. Ottawa rolled out 6 months of enhanced support for all 1,200 affected workers, providing immediate relief. Prime Minister Carney's $2 billion industry fund, announced after the U.S. tariffs, was now urgently deployed. The government worked with Unifor and industry to craft a plan not just for Cami, but for the entire auto sector's resilience. The combined legal, financial, and political pressure sent a clear message to GM. Canada expected its commitments honored. Doing business in Canada now meant real partnership, or real consequences. The assertive stance aimed to force GM back to the negotiating table. Canada's response became a blueprint for industrial resilience. The $2 billion support fund was used to attract new investment, retool plants, and drive R&D for next-generation vehicles. Canada leveraged its skilled workforce, clean energy, and critical minerals to position itself as a global EV hub. The fight for Ingersoll symbolized a new, proactive industrial strategy, one that didn't just react, but shaped the future. Government and unions pressed GM to see the long-term value of the Cami plant and its workforce. Negotiations shifted from closure to renewal, with public funds offered as co-investment, not a bailout. Canada's unified front made a compelling business case for GM to stay. The crisis became an opportunity to redefine Canada's role in the global auto industry. Canada's unified response turned crisis into renewal. Relentless pressure and strategic investment forced GM to commit to a new product for Cami, saving 1,200 jobs. The victory was more than local. It redefined Canada's industrial policy and its approach to global corporate pressures. The government's mix of financial support and legal action became a new playbook for defending Canadian jobs. The Ingersoll saga sent a message: Canada stands by its workers and expects corporate accountability. The crisis forged stronger partnerships between government, labor, and industry, setting a model for the green transition. Ingersoll emerged not as a story of loss, but of resilience and a bold new vision for Canada's economic future.